I stand between the moon and the sun on this fine autumn morning. Facing one another, their rays reach out like hands, caressing the gentle giants below. Glistening under this celestial dance is the weeping giant. The tree is burst into flower, and upon looking closely, I realize that the giant is in fact a weeping wattle, not a weeping myrtle as I previously thought. Standing under the tree's canopy, I listen to the bees buzz. As they feed, they drop the tree's flowers. The tiny yellow balls look like little suns resting on the earth. Each time I wonder walk, I learn something new. And sometimes this means rewriting what I held as truth. And I think this is one of life's gifts. We can rewrite our stories as we grow in knowledge and wisdom. What's a little life lesson that nature has taught you, Wonder Weavers? I'd love you to share with me in the description below. The time has come, Wonder Weavers. It's time to replace the dollhouse's foundation, the piece of wood upon which the dollhouse is sitting. And this week I measured the panel, and of course, as predicted by you, Wonder Weavers, because the house was handcrafted, the block isn't square, but that's okay. It's only out by a little bit, so I think we can work with that. I need to get a couple of tools, and obviously I need to have the wood cut to size because I don't have the tools to do that, so I'm arranging that, and very soon I hope to reveal the brand new floor. So as part of this preparation, I took everything out of the dollhouse, and this served as a beautiful reflection of how far I've come in just a year. So as I took pieces out, I saw things that need repairing, and then I looked at other pieces and went, wow, that is really beautiful. In the meanwhile, Wonder Weavers, I made my first mini kitchen sink, and I thought I would share with you how I went about it. So I hope you enjoy this little tutorial. This week I turned to making a mini kitchen sink for the dollhouse. Washing dishes is an important chore, but I'm not entirely sure Cordelia will enjoy it. To make the task more enjoyable, she may need to practice singing a rhyme or two. This was a trick I used when I was little. And I'm curious, Wonder Weavers, what tricks or games did you play to make dishwashing more enjoyable? So let us begin our mini adventure. I'm starting with the splashback, which I've cut from foam board. I chose foam board for this part because it's thicker than the balsa wood I have, It's 1/2 centimetre thick. I'm lightly sanding the edges until they are smooth. I also round the 2 top corners. Next, with a graphite pencil and ruler, I mark out 2 guidelines. These are along the central axes of the splashback. These help me work out where I would like the taps to sit. On either side of the recess's midpoint, I draw 2 dots. And then with my awl, I punch 2 holes. Next, I cut out 4 rectangular pieces from balsa wood for the basin. I mark the position of the drain and then drill a hole with my awl. Next, I spend some time sanding the pieces until their edges are smooth. Then I glue the parts together. I've decided to make a rather quirky looking sink. The sink will have legs made from dowel rods. To make the legs a little bit ornate, I carve them. As I'm a beginner, I decide to carve a simple style. Using the V-cut, I carve fluted grooves towards the top and the bottom of the rod. And with the sweeping cut, I also taper the ends. To help me further shape the dowel, I cover the end of a thin paintbrush with a small piece of sanding paper. One of these days I hope to find a rasp I can use instead of this method. And if you have any suggestions of where I could find a rasp perfect for miniatures wonder weavers, I'd love you to share with me in the comments below. Next, I cut up matchsticks to create a trim around the exterior of the basin. As you can see, I've roughly cut one of them, but I'll sand that edge off. Once the glue is dry, I then spend some time smoothing and rounding edges. Sanding can be tedious at times, but this week I discovered that I love doing this task while listening to music. And while sanding the basin, I listen to spell songs. Have you heard this album, Wonder Weavers? I'll share a link to it in the description below. I then glue the legs to the bottom of the basin. Now it is time to paint the basin and the legs. I start by adding a layer of gesso to the basin. And also to the recess. Once dry, I paint both parts with white acrylic paint. and later I varnish them. On the other hand, I paint the legs with watered down brown acrylic paint. Once dry, I glue the splashback to the basin. Next, using beading wire and beads, I create taps. I first place a conical shape bead onto the end of the beading wire, securing it in place with super glue. As you will notice, I'm positioning the bead around 1.5 centimeters from the end of the wire. Then with my nose pliers, I bend the wire at a right angle. I then glue to the end of the wire a small cylindrical bead. I then glue another small cylindrical bead on top of the conical shaped one, and then a decorative spacer on top of it, and that will be the handle of the tap. I paint the mini tap with metallic acrylic paint, copper and colour. I trim both ends of the beading wire, making sure that behind the body of the tap I leave a length of wire around 1/2 centimeter long so that I can attach the tap to the splashback. I then glue the taps into place. I use a similar method to create a drain pipe. With my nose pliers, I bend the beading wire at a 90-degree angle. I glue another conical shaped bead to the wire, but this time making sure that it sits right at the end of the wire. I trim the wire, and to the opposite end I glue a small cylindrical bead, and then paint the pipe. And once dry, I glue it in place. As a final touch, I glue a rectangular decorative spacer to the front of the sink. Thank you for watching, Wonder Weavers. As always, I'm very grateful for your support of my channel, and I'd love to hear from you. How are your projects going? Please share with me in the comments below. Until the next time, take care, stay well, and don't forget to play. Adios. Ciao. Whose turn is it to wash the dishes, Cordelia? Yours or mine?